A debt is owed. And that's just a fact.
We have an obligation to repair the injustice that was done to African Americans.
400 years of free service. That's just not fair.
You have almost 250 years of slavery. And if you've kicked someone that long, you owe it to do more than stop kicking you.
During the Democratic debate, the topic of reparations came up, and I wanted to give this a video in itself, with it being a rather polarizing topic, and I, again, think each three of them made pretty good points about it. Reparations is the act of a government paying back the damages it caused, whether through money or legislative advantages like scholarships, pardons, or things that need written into law rather than paid for. And first, I want to hear Mary Ann's point, and I want to note where she says 2016, she means 1619.
I've spoken to many all-white audiences and gone through a little history lesson. Slavery began in 2016. You have almost 250 years of slavery, followed for the most part by another 100 years of institutional suppression of black people in the American South. 350 years. That's a lot of kicking. And if you've kicked someone that long, you owe it to do more than stop kicking. You owe it to them to say, help me get back up. Now, I also want to point out that once we close the wage gap between blacks and whites in America, the economy in the United States will be $1.5 trillion.
So let's go with this kicking analogy. If you kick someone until their ribs break, did you make it even just by stopping kicking them? Or do you make it even by covering what their medical bills may be? And it's not like this is a new concept. In 2016, we paid almost $500 million to Native American tribes whose land we mismanaged. We paid $1.6 billion to Japanese Americans whom we held in internment camps. And hell, we even paid reparation to slave owners for releasing their slaves. On top of that, the House and Senate have both passed resolutions apologizing for the government's role in slavery and admitting the effects still linger today. So why is it such a taboo topic to discuss reparations for African Americans? And the wage gap is very real. It's important that she brought that up. Black men are earning 87 cents to a white man's dollar, and closing it would make our economy over $1 trillion and raise our GDP's floor going forward, well outweighing the cost.
We have an obligation to repair the injustice that was done to African Americans, to the descendants of slaves. We are out of our minds.
And do you support reparations?
And here's what I plan to do. I want to use a UBI program, Universal Basic Income Program, in the lowest income census tracts in America that will benefit descendants of slaves disproportionately, but also white people and Latino people and all kinds of people.
Now, a UBI would have effects on the wage gap. There are studies that show that it would have a direct impact, and as a bare minimum, I do support it, especially in additionally tackling classism, you know, the rich versus the poor, something that exacerbates racism and also causes issues in other communities. But you need to do more for reparations. Pair it with pardons for those disproportionately targeted during the war on drugs, or scholarships for descendants of slaves, something to also place a band-aid over the wounds caused by discrimination.
A debt is owed. And that's just a fact. 400 years of free service. That's just not fair. So if it happened to anyone, people would say a debt is owed. I did the work and I never got paid for it. Now, having said that, it is very difficult to execute reparations. So how black, how white? What if you're a quarter black? Does that mean you pay reparations because you're 3/4 white, or you get reparations because you're a quarter black?
He makes a good pushback comment that I want to address: how to decide reparations if someone is mixed. And most supporters of reparations want two qualifiers. You have to put your ethnicity down as black on government or formal papers for at least a decade. That way you're not just trying to take advantage when this comes around. And you have to be a direct descendant of a slave. And in doing so, I think the barriers are then reduced to around 40 million people who would be eligible to receive these. I have a reparations speech that I wrote when I was like 18 or 19 that I'm sure I could turn into a video. If that's something you guys would be more interested in, a more in-depth breakdown on this kind of stuff, just let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, we're Social Society. We're a commentary channel influenced by politics, society, and the economy. We are pretty left-leaning on this channel, but we're open to our right-wingers as well. The biggest thing here is having conversations that get everyone to the bottom of the truth. If that sounds like something that could interest you, make sure you smash that subscribe button, leave us a like, or even comment on this video, because the only way we become a society is together.
Make sure to like and subscribe.